Hey guys, so this is the first tips and tricks video for Queen of Diamonds, and what we're going to do is we are going to specifically talk about templates. I'm going to handle the templates, Jen's going to do the next video, and that's going to cover cutting fabric. But she likes me doing templates because there's a lot of little nuances to it and they get kind of frustrating, and hopefully I can help make this easier for everyone. So normally when you get a kit, you have paper templates in there. And if you remember our last video, we did an unboxing on this kit and this was in there. So there's a couple things about these templates that aren't great. Thing one, there's no box telling you it's a perfect inch. And thing two, these don't have the seam allowances included. Sometimes you buy patterns that have the seam allowances, sometimes you don't. This is why Jen has me do the templates, because if we do not purchase acrylic templates, these take a little bit of time to make usable. So we're going to do this two ways today. We're going to go through a scaling situation, and then we're going to do this little old school. We're going to go by hand, which is my favorite method, but we're going to cover both. So let's get into this. So first things first, I always take this and I make a photocopy, because if we cut through this, we can only do that once. So I already did that. I made a photocopy. If you guys have a scanner at home and you don't have a photocopier on it, most libraries will let you make copies. So go to your local library, you can make copies. I always do this on a little bit of a cardstock. It helps make it more rigid for the cutting. It's a lot better if you can get a cardstock for this, so please try and do that. So now that I've got this, well, what's the next step? Well, with your scanner, you can now scan this and increase the size. I have a fun little equation for that. So with this equation, what you're going to do is you're going to replace these variables with the actual sizes that are on, that these templates are. And what you're going to do is, for this, we're going to need to add 3/8 of an inch. So you're going to actually add 3/4 of an inch, which is 3/8 times 2. Why are you going to do that? Because that's going to give you 3/8 on either side. So you take this dimension and add 3/4 of an inch. I've already done that, and I've got those filled into the equation. So when you go all the way through all this, it pretty much comes to about 25% larger for these. So you have to scan this at 125% to get that increase. This is not an exact science. So I always recommend using cheaper paper, try scanning it a few times, dial that percentage number in. Normally you can only do it a percent at a time. Just take your time with it, it's going to work out just fine. That's the scaling method. I don't really like this method because it's not as exact. What I like doing is a little bit more hands-on. Okay, so for the hands-on method, we have our nice scanned clean copy here. So we can do whatever we want to this and it's not going to cause any problems. What we're going to do though is we are going to cut these out. And it's going to be like this. The reason we're going to cut these out and we want to keep these borders around there is because we're going to scan these again. The reason we want to scan these again is it's going to give us the room that we need to be able to do this by hand. And that is going to look like this. Now you're going to run into this, and that's why I did it this way. Every now and then you're going to have a problem where one of these is too close to the edge or completely off. But it's okay because we can still do this. So let's take a look at A. I've got my handy dandy ruler, and we're going to add 3/8 of an inch. And the way I like to do this is I like to make two marks here and here, and then draw a line across. So we're going to do that here real quick. So we're going to go 3/8 of an inch. There's one, there's two, there's one, there's two, and there's three. All right, so there's one mark, and we're just going to go 1, 2, 3. Here's mark 2. And then you're going to take this, you're going to connect them with the ruler, and you're going to go all the way across. All right, so now you've got a line that goes beyond where you need. You're going to connect this in. So we're going to do this on all of your sides. 1, 2, 3, and mark. And we're going to go over here, 1, 2, 3, and mark. We're going to do this again. you go. You can see, now we're getting this. Last time we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, mark, and 1, 2, 3, mark. I like doing this because I am an old school drafter, and I like drafting along with graphic design, and this just makes my brain work. If you like the percentage system, it works good for you. So now we have a template with 3/8 of an inch on all 3 sides. So we're going to cut this out, and then I'm going to show you what to do next. Okay, so we've got our first template cut. So what are we going to do with this? Well, as much as we would love to be able to make these at home, it's not really feasible. It's expensive material. You need like a laser cutter to do this and a really lot good of ventilation. I've looked into it. I've really wanted to do this. It's not worth it. You can go to the dollar store. You can get some cutting boards. They have some thin cutting boards that you can get at the dollar store. And I know that you guys have probably all seen the very fancy template material at a lot of the quilt shops. What I like to do, I like envelope inserts from hobby stores. They're like $9 and you get a variety of sizes. Let's show you. This is what it is. Reason I like this, you get a lot of material on here. It's translucent, so you can see through it, which is going to be important in the next video, you'll see. And again, you get a variety of sizes. So what does that mean? Well, it means you can take this, place it on there, and you can get a few cuts out of this. So let's show you what that looks like. Okay, so here's our template, and here is our material. Now, I could use a big part, or I could be economical, and I can do this. Again, this is why I like this. You get a lot of flexibility out of this. So now that we've got this here, I'm gonna take a Sharpie marker, hold it down tight. Now, for anyone who's a little shaky, you can tape this down. That's not a problem. It's gonna give you more exact lines. It all depends upon how exact you wanna be with your particular templates. So we're gonna do this. Just run a line down. And sometimes you don't press hard enough and you gotta do it again. So just take your time. And one more line just to be on the safe side. So pull away, there's my line. So let's get this one finished. Okay, so with the power of movie magic, we've got this traced out now. So there's a couple things that you can do here. So if you remember, this is the 3/8 of an inch all the way around the center. So if you have a small cutout of an actual sized one, you can center that up in the center, and you can do dashed lines all the way around. I'm gonna do that here real quick. I'm just gonna use this to line things up. In there. Just kind of realign this, just make sure we're good. And then I'm just going to do some dashed lines all the way around, so that way I know where I'm going to have the fabric as I am cutting. This is just going to help get everything lined up the way you want it. So now that we've got that around there, the other thing that Jen likes me to do is to put the pattern name. So I'm going to do QOD, Queen of Diamonds, and I'm going to do A. So that way we know that this is the A template for Queen of Diamonds. So that way, if we ever want to do this again, we can find this rather easily. Let's get this cut out. Okay, so now that we've got this done, we can work on the other ones, but there's one other thing that I want to talk about, and that is templates you already have. Now, if you guys remember earlier, I showed you that scaling equation. Now that works 2 ways. Now, why is this important? Well, if you've invested in acrylic templates, which are not cheap, but they're indestructible, so that's great. What are you going to use these for again? Well, you could make the exact same pattern again, but sometimes that doesn't work. Okay, so for you Tula fans out there, we recognize Moon Garden. This is my favorite fabric in Moon Garden. So let's take a look at this here real quick. So we've got this beautiful owl print, and then I've got a template here from one of Jen's other projects. This is for the Smitten Quilt Kit. This is the largest hexagon in the kit. Let's put it over this owl here real quick. It is smaller than the owl. Beautiful fabric. I want this entire print in there though. So now I've got this and it's too small. Well, what are we going to do with this? Well, what we can do, which is really easy, you take a piece of paper, you put your template on there, you take a marker and you map out the outer edge of your template. And you do this for all of your templates. Why do you want to do this for all your templates? You want to do it for all your templates because now, since we're increasing the size of this pattern to accommodate the fabric, what we can do is we can measure the distance, increase this, test it on this fabric, make sure that we can fit the owl. And since we have scaled this to a certain percentage, you scale up all the other templates at the same size. So that way you're keeping everything equal. Now you can use your templates in a larger format, increase the size of your blocks, use the same quilt pattern, use the same instructions just on a larger scale, and now you have a brand new quilt that fits fabric that you like a little bit better. Because fabric always changes. We always like different fabric for different reasons, but by being able to scale your templates for patterns that you already have, it allows you to expand the use of your quilts, and they look different every time you use them. So that is templates. I hope you guys learned something new. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Post some comments below this video if you're on our Facebook group. If you are on our website viewing these videos, shoot us a message. If you have any questions, we're more than happy to help you out on this. Now, the next video, Jen is going to take this template and the other templates that I'm going to be making, and she is going to start cutting fabric so you guys can see how she lines everything up to get the best cuts that she can out of the fabric she has. See you guys soon.